Shalom, bruchim habaim. Welcome to this video. So today is Thursday afternoon, and I was thinking about the weekend, and I have decided that I'm gonna take some study hours, studies for myself. And oh, parasha, which parasha? Noach. Nice. I'm gonna study Torah this weekend, Shabbat. And then I thought, oh, wait a sec. Noach, I could make a video on lanoach. So here we are. There is a lot to learn about this verb. As you know, I'm by no means the expert of biblical Hebrew, and I'm not going to teach you biblical Hebrew in this video, but it did inspire me. I have to say that. So let's see, what can we learn from lanoach, to rest. Let's start. So here we are. As I said, lanoach means to rest, but this is not the most important thing. The main question here is, what is the binyan? Those who have taken my course, that's a walk in the park. But however, even they had to learn it and to understand why. Hebrew is all about patterns. Now let's have a look. Is this Paal or Piel? Maybe we look at the standard patterns and then we decide. Okay, standard patterns. We start like this. This is a root. Okay, and now we want to make a Paal infinitive. How do we do that? We put a lamet in front and a vav between the second and the third letter. Now that is super hyper standard, right? If this is new to you, I'm not judging, and there is help out there. So if this is new to you, this is the most basic thing you have to learn to get into Hebrew verbs. I wrote a book where I actually give all the patterns. This is not the same like the course because there I list it, I explain it, but this is not like Hebrew in context. The course is much more complex. I make you go in between binyanim and up and down. But if this is new to you or you are still unfamiliar with the subject, the book is a good option. Okay, so let's move on. Here we are. This is a standard Paal infinitive. Could that be Paal then? Let's have a look. Ooh, nah. What else did we have? PL. Okay, let's look at PL before we decide, right? So, PL. The same, we start with a root, and now if we want to come to a standard, regular PL infinitive, what we do is we simply place a lamet, then we have the three root letters, and we are done. I can already hear it. You're all going to say, oh yeah, cool, we are done. End of the video. First, we have a look. Lanoach. Yeah, actually, could be PL, right? Lamet, three letters. Okay, I guess you were prepared for that. Why would I make a video if it was that simple? It is Paal. But why? Why is that Paal and how could you have known? That is the whole point, not why it is Paal. Well, please tell us. We don't know why, but we know that it is. And the main point is that you recognize patterns and then you don't need to learn by heart any longer because you understand what you're doing. So again, the overview, there is the Paal infinitive, there is the PL infinitive. The PL one looks much closer to lanoach than the Paal infinitive, but you just heard me say that it is Paal. Why is that? Well, let me show you. It is because when we look here, lanoach, and let's take all of that out here. Yes, here we have three letters and the lamet in front. But we are talking about what kind of root. This is the main question in Hebrew. What root are we dealing with? And then you will see something completely different. You are looking here at a root where you have a vav on the second root letter. Yeah, what we see that. So what? Stay with me. That is called Ayin-Vav. Ayin-Vav is the name of the Gizra, and a Gizra is a subcategory within the binyan, and they do not follow the standard rules. Okay? All of that is in the book, and yeah, in the course we talk about nothing else, but there I will teach it to you in a way that you will never forget it. That is the main point here, that you are at ease with this and you can jump in between and you see a verb or you see a root and you know exactly where we are going. So, having said that, lanoach, to rest, I can tell you that right now, even though you're not aware of it, but I'm absolutely positive you know more verbs with this structure that you can right now actually remember. Yeah, it starts with nun and there's ach at the end, la nuach. It looks complicated, but look at the structure. It is a root with a vav on the second position that we also have in to live at a place. That is right, lagur. You knew that, right? Lagur, many students actually know, and they can even conjugate it, but when they see lanuach, they get confused. So that only tells me as a teacher that the pattern is not really understood. Once you understand that, you see that. It's impossible to not see it then. Another one is, for example, to fly by plane, not a bird, right? That is right, latus. And as you see here, you even know how to pronounce it without nikud because you understood the pattern, right? Okay, now let's take latus just as an example. Now, let's take lagur as an example for conjugation. I'm sure you know that. Gar, gara, garim, garot. Lagur. Okay? So this is how you conjugate Paal verbs where there is a vav on the second root letter. Now we come back to lanoach. Do the same, and you will end up in nach, nacha, nachim, nachot. You see, once the pattern is in there in your brain, you cannot do something else, actually. So, still, I understand that you might think, yeah, but what are we doing with roots that have a vav on the second root position, but they end up really in PL? So, how do they look like, or doesn't that exist? It does exist. It does exist much, much, much less than in Paal, yes, but it does exist. For example, let's take this root here. No, this is not lamut. Lamut is Paal, and it's with a tough at the end. This here is tet. Different letter, different meaning. So here, if we want to go now into PL, yes, we put a lamet in front, but because of the vav on the second root position, I know you're tired of hearing that, but this is here the main point. We double the last letter of the root. And this is the reason why we end up with two tets. So, le motet means to knock over, to cause, to collapse. And here you have it. You have the tet from the root gets doubled in PL. So this is what you actually do with PL and the Ayin-Vav rules. That's what they are called. Ayin-Vav rules. Why are they called Ayin-Vav? Well, read the book or come to my course. That would make the video too long now, okay? So, cuties, thanks for your attention. I hope it was helpful. I also hope you will enjoy the parasha on Shabbat, the Torah reading. And yeah, until then, hey, check out my website. Feel free to sign up for my newsletter. Of course, you can get off again at any time if this is your wish. But this is where I communicate new ideas, things I've tested, but normally not more than once a week. That's it. Okay, so don't think I will flood your inbox. No, I'm not going to do that. But if you're interested in getting some Hebrew tips, especially for verbs, well, that's my subject. Sign up, and you might even get a promotion once in a while. Okay. Thanks for being here. I see you in the next video. Shalom.